to the Vanarama National League highlight show on BT Sport, and what a packed show it is. We have a few new faces in the league as Harry Wheeler took charge of his first game at Maidstone, a former Manchester United goalkeeper comes to save Dagenham and Redbridge, and Braintree boss Brad Quinton finally tastes victory. Just in Edinburgh's Leyton Orient were one of two unbeaten sides heading into their fixture on Saturday afternoon with 5 wins and 5 draws. They're already 4 points better off than at this stage last season and with a much improved defence this campaign. The manager says the playoffs are a minimum requirement, but he understands, just like his Barnet counterpart, that there's tough competition for a top 7 finish.
It's a tough league. Anyone that doesn't know about it, for me it's one of the toughest leagues to get out of. Only one automatic promotion. Some big teams in there this year, and I think that will be reflected in the crowd here today and the quality of the game. You know, we're confident about ourselves. I think we go into today's game full of confidence, and we've got to go and input ourselves onto the game and do what we do well.
Whilst the O's were just 2 points off Harrogate at the top, the B's were just a further 3 behind after 5 wins in a row. It had all the makings for a tasty London derby in front of a busy Brisbane road. Josh Caroma almost got the celebrations off to an early start, his long-range strike drifting wide of Mark Cousins' goal. Edinburgh named an unchanged starting 11 for a 7th game in a row, but fans had a new hero on the score sheet. Centre-back Josh Coulson unmarked at the back post to tap in his first goal since Boxing Day. But the lead was short-lived, Wes Funguk levelling for Barnet with this impressive 25-yard volley, 1-1 at half-time. Into the second half, and Orient surged ahead courtesy of James Dayton, the winger collecting the ball from Craig Clay and finishing with a fine left foot. And 10 minutes later, the victory was sealed at the second attempt from Macaulay Bonne. Joby McAnuff providing the deep cross, with Bonne first hitting the post before scoring the rebound. It means 2 teams stay unbeaten in the league, and they go head-to-head next as Orient head to Harrogate.
Bottom half Ebbsfleet United were away to Wrexham, who hadn't lost at home and were a point away from the leaders Harrogate Town. After only 6 minutes at the racecourse, an excellent pass from Paul Rutherford found Chris Holroyd, who scored a first of the campaign. He netted 13 times in the previous 2 seasons. The hosts were playing with confidence, and their succinct build-up play continued moments after the opener. Out wide, the talented Rakeal Pike teed up Stuart Bevan, who made it 2-0. With Bevan on loan at present from Coventry City, Pike's temporarily in North Wales from Huddersfield. Assist maker then became classy goal scorer, with the clash still inside the opening 20 minutes. Into added time, a free kick as Daryl McMahon's Fleet was set for a thrashing. Waiting at Nathan Ashmore's far post, captain Sean Pearson. 2 goals in a week for him, and at the interval 4-0 to the Dragons. Not long after the restart, in front of a crowd of almost 5,000, Ebbsfleet attacked and were able to score a consolation via the head of their top goal scorer last term, Danny Kedwell. It finished 4-1 though, leaving Fleet without a victory in 4. Wrexham have lost only once all season.
Delighted, especially with the performance. First half was the best we played. I've said all the time we need to improve, we need to get better. I've said we've been playing in 2nd and 3rd gear this year. For the first half today, we were outstanding.
Maidstone United unveiled their new manager this week, with Harry Wheeler replacing Jay Saunders in the dugout. The former Billericay Town boss was dismissed in controversial fashion last month, despite leading the club to promotion to the National League South. But Wheeler says it's onward and upwards as he makes a fresh start with his new club.
Settled straight away. I'm comfortable in football environment, so if it's a good football environment, I'm comfortable straight away. So definitely settled straight in. Everyone's very welcoming, and at the same time, you know, we've got a good rapport with the players already, and yeah, it seems like we've been here for a while. I think the club is similar to me, professional, works hard, has good integrity, good morals, and it's a good club with a good reputation, and so it's something I wanted to be a part of, and I feel there's some good work we can do here.
obviously when a new manager comes in and he's young and he's got a lot of ideas and very confident in everything that he's saying, and he knows exactly what he wants, and he started to input that on the squad along with his coaching team already, and it's like I said, it's a breath of fresh air, and he's been fantastic around the place. He's individually talks to us, and it's been excellent.
The first impression was really good. You can tell both Tristan and the gaffer know their stuff. Obviously they've got new ideas which they're trying to implement slowly, but I think the boys have enjoyed it, and it's been a good week, so looking forward to the game now.
Wheeler's main objective is to get the Stones scoring again and ultimately winning games after losing the last 5 on the bounce. And after taking 3 training sessions, he had no bigger test for his first game in charge as the Gallagher Stadium hosted league leaders Harrogate. Maidstone were tested early on as Town's leading scorer Dominic Knowles went close, hitting the upright with Calvin Langmead unable to finish. And so it wasn't long before the visitors made the breakthrough. Knowles heading the corner back across goal with Liam Kitchen finding the woodwork before Callum House scored the rebound. That's his 4th this season. Harrogate were showing just why they were unbeaten, doubling their lead before the break. Joe Leasley with the long ball to Jack Muldoon, who scored his 6th despite Lee Worgan getting his fingertips to it. His goal meant Harrogate are not only league leaders but also leading goal scorers. Maidstone have now won just 6 of their last 39 matches.
I thought it was an excellent away performance, probably our best of the season so far. I'm overjoyed for the players because I think their commitment has been second to none again.
The last time AFC Fylde and Aldershot Town met at Mill Farm, the hosts devastatingly won 7-1 with Danny Rowe scoring a hat-trick in the opening 19 minutes. On this occasion it was goalless with 4 to go before the break. In the shots box, Neil Byrne found Rowe, whose shot on the turn was brilliantly cleared off the line by Lewis Kinsella. Moments later, Rowe continued to lurk in the area as Fylde maintained pressure on the visitors. An opener was to come from Ryan Crowsdale, a 50 grand record signing from Kidderminster Harriers. The performance from Dave Challoner's men certainly didn't suggest they'd failed to score in 4 of their previous 5 in the National League. Via the head of Serhat Tasmadir, the hosts went in at the interval 2-0 in front. He may not have scored, but past the hour mark in the northwest, Rowe was still causing problems for Aldershot, setting up Joe Cardle, who's now on 2 for the campaign. In added time, it could have been 4-0 as a neatly worked move from Fylde resulted in Zane Francis Angol's attempt being well saved by George Legg. Despite 3 goalless draws in 3 weeks, Challoner's side have lost only once in 11.
We're in a difficult period. We found it hard early part of this season, but take nothing away from the opposition because they're a good side. But we need to improve very, very quickly. And I think everybody has to have a hard look at themselves and ask themselves, are they doing enough?
To Hayes Lane next, where Bromley were looking to bounce back from consecutive defeats, including their first one at home in 8 months. They welcome league favourites Salford, who've continued to climb up the table after going 7 games unbeaten. The Ammies have been in form and they were in front before half-time. A strong header from an on-rushing Rory Gaffney for his first goal since the opening day of the season. After the break, the Ravens weren't just a goal down, but a player too. Adam Meckie shown the first red card of his career for his tackle on Nathan Pond. His sliding challenge deemed dangerous by referee Adrian Quelch, giving him no option but to dismiss the winger. With that, the hosts were left playing with 10 men for the majority of the second half, and Salford took full advantage. Less than 10 minutes later, it was 2-0. Gaffney the provider this time, with Tom Walker tapping in his second goal in 3 games. Bromley did have the chance to get back into the game when George Porter's cross was met by junior Agadi Azokwe, only for him to head it wide. The Ravens are now without a win in 4, but another 3 points for Graham Alexander's team means they're just 4 points off the top.
This season was set to be extremely difficult for Dagenham and Redbridge, maybe even a campaign that wouldn't be completed after former director Glyn Hopkin decided to cease his funding of the club. but the Daggers' future now appears to be secure following completion of a takeover by American owners, including Tim Howard. The former Everton and USA goalkeeper reached out to East London before a home game against Chesterfield.
Hey boys, it's Tim Howard here. Good luck against Chesterfield today. I'm looking forward to getting to Victoria Road at some point this off-season to see you guys, but I know you've been going well, been following most recent results, and keep up the good work.
Trinity Sports Holdings, which is an American company, they've formed a consortium headed by Peter Freund, who's owns a number of sports clubs in America, Craig Unger and Tim Howard, and a couple of other people. And they've acquired 58% of Dagenham and Redbridge Football Club. Obviously someone like Tim Howard is involved with them, so the amount of experience that he's got in football is incredible. They're in it for the long haul, the next 10, 15 years. The supporters are overwhelmed, I think, that a club like ours could do a deal like this is fantastic.
Someone who cares as much about Dagenham as Steve Thompson is three-time former manager and East Londoner John Still.
I'm just delighted that they've found someone. I hope that they've found someone that's going to look after them. And to me, I'm not over bothered about where they play level-wise. Just there's a football club there for people to go and support. If they can push on and push up the leagues, I'll be absolutely delighted. But just for a football club to be there, that I can go and watch when I finish and take my grandchildren to watch. So I'm delighted for them, I really am.
The Daggers had won their previous two ahead of facing Chesterfield, who hadn't scored in their last 5. Martin Allen's team were determined to put that right, and early on at Victoria Road, Lee Shaw set up Curtis Weston, finally a goal for the Spireites after 493 minutes. Deep into the second half in the capital, Chesterfield attacked for a second. After alert goalkeeping from Elliot Justam, Shaw blazed over. Tim Howard will be happy with Justam and with what happened next, involving the visitors' keeper Shwan Jalal, victim of a cheeky lob from Chike Candy. Not the sweetest outcome, a 1-1 finish, but Dagenham are now unbeaten in 4 and out of the relegation zone.
Braintree made the 275-mile trip to Gateshead looking for their first win of the season. After a year away, their return to the 5th tier hasn't quite gone to plan, and 3 points from their opening 10 games is enough for fans to fear immediate relegation. Meanwhile, Gateshead were looking to get back to winning ways at the International Stadium after falling victim to Harrogate in a 5-goal thriller last time. But the day got off to a bad start when Luke Molyneux got injured in the warm-up. And the afternoon didn't get much better when Braintree got the breakthrough 10 minutes into the second half. Billy Crook's free kick headed in by Joe Ellul. The Heat thought they'd found the equaliser when Stephen Rigg headed goalwards, but was stopped by the legs of keeper Ben Killip. The hosts were running out of time and luck. Tom White's cross finding JJ O'Connell, who headed inches over the bar. The full-time whistle couldn't have come soon enough for the Irons, who held on for their first victory of the season. Manager Brad Quinton finally able to celebrate a valuable 3 points, which lifts them off the foot of the table.
The last time Havant and Waterlooville and Sutton United met was 3 years ago in National League South. The hosts were on a run of 3 defeats in 4. During a weekend with one Ibra, Zlatan scored a 500th career goal. Ibra Sakaja failed with his effort at a bicycle kick, following up gratefully Nicky Kabamba, who scored Havant's last 3. Into the second half came a response from Sutton, who had won their last 2. Paul Doswell doesn't always start with Tommy Wright, who's now on to 2 for the campaign. With less than a quarter of an hour remaining in Hampshire, the visitors continued to attack, and the actions of a Doswell substitute proved decisive as Jonah Ayunga squared for Harry Beautyman, who got the better of Ryan Young. It ended 2-1 with resilient Sutton now on a run of only 1 loss in 11 matches.
I mean, we are a non-league football club. We're a part-time football club. We train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. We don't play 52 weeks of the year, so it's a situation where if it happens because the players are good enough, then as a club we are more than happy to go and do it. But ultimately, for us, we feel that we're in an exceptionally good league and we enjoy it.
After collecting points off Sutton, Wrexham and Leyton Orient in the last 2 weeks, high-flying Halifax headed to York Road looking for more. But it was the Magpies who would steal all 3 points with 3 goals in just over half an hour. Maidenhead, who were unbeaten in their previous 3 home games, were on the score sheet after just 12 minutes. Josh Kelly heading in the cross from James Comley. 6 minutes later, the teenage striker turned provider to double the lead. Kelly wriggling free after Halifax failed to clear their lines to pull the ball back for Adrian Clifton, who marked his return from international duty with Montserrat with a goal. The hosts were in complete control and had the game wrapped up 9 minutes before the break, when Kelly was found in acres of space to go one-on-one with Sam Johnson. Kelly beating the Halifax keeper again to bag his brace. The only negative for Alan Devonshire was the dismissal of Ayo Obele 1 minute from time, the defender halting the Halifax counter-attack by catching Johnny Edwards. A well-beaten Halifax dropped 4 places to 9th.
When we lose any game, we're never happy. Maybe that's Scottish in me, but we're never happy. So to come away in a game where we're looking to gain 3 points, because every game we play we look to gain 3 points, yes, we're not happy because of that, but it's not disappointing from the point of view because we got what we deserved today, and what we're looking to do, we're looking to rectify that in our next home game.
Facing Solihull Moors, Dover Athletic hadn't won in 6 matches. Moors, meanwhile, had lost their previous 2 after a strong start. Into the closing 20 minutes in Kent, the visitors pressurised Chris Kinnear's men. After initially clearing in the box, Jermaine Hilton beat the hosts' offside trap, then beating Mitch Walker to score for the first time since January. Generally, Solihull supporters will be pleased with how their campaign's going after coming 18th last season. More dodgy Dover defending allowed Danny Wright to wrap up 3 points on the road. Athletic are now without a win in 7, their worst run since returning to the 5th tier in 2014.
Just a little bit of experience. I mean, they've got just that little bit more, and it does win games, doesn't it? You don't have to be the best side. You just have to use that experience to win games. We haven't got that at the moment. I thought everyone gave 100%, and at the end of the day, you know, that bit of quality there won it. But can't knock the lads for their effort.
2 huge sides physically. I mean, Dover are the biggest team I've ever seen. And first half was scrappy, I thought, for both sides, and I thought second half we were the better side. Once it panned out a little bit, we seemed to carry more of a threat. I remember Mitch Walker making a couple of saves along with the goals. So I was pleased with our second half, but I was just pleased with the way we came and toughed it out in a really difficult place to come.
After a difficult 12 months, Hartlepool appear to have recovered well, unbeaten in 7 games, already matching their best record of last year. But one thing they never managed last season was to beat Eastleigh, their opponents, on Saturday. The Spitfires started brightly, Cavan and Miley forcing keeper Scott Loach into action in the opening 10 minutes. At the other end, his opposite number Graham Stack also pulled off a fine save to deny captain Liam Noble. But just a minute later, Hartlepool went ahead. Ryan Donaldson crossing for Nico Muir, who tapped in perhaps one of his easiest goals. Eastleigh hadn't scored in their previous 4 games, but they responded this time. Mark Yates with the ball in and Paul McCallum rising highest to equalise and secure the point with 20 minutes to go, enough to move them up to 17th in the table.
Like I said before the game, whoever wants it the most will win this game today or get a result in this game today, and they wanted it more in us first half. Second half, we were much better, and like I say, I'm pleased with the point. 2 games unbeaten. Dagenham next week on the TV, so hopefully at home, hopefully we can start getting a little bit of a decent run there.
Boreham Wood have hit good form of late and unbeaten at home all season, hosted Barrow, who had failed to win away. Inside the fixture's opening 10 minutes, Luke Garrard's side attempted to set the tone, and going for goal, a Josh O'Meara effort went wide. Moments after the restart in Hertfordshire, another curled endeavour. This time it was Barrow's Josh Kay who was unable to open the scoring. There were only 9 minutes remaining as Ian Everts Barrow sought that elusive away victory. After Luke Burgess made contact with the inside of the post, John Rooney followed up, bagging a second of the campaign. Wood, however, were determined to hang on to their record at Meadow Park and threw everything at the Bluebirds in added time. David Stevens was up from the back, teeing up Kieran Murtagh, whose half volley secured a dramatic draw. Boreham Wood are unbeaten in 5, Barrow haven't won in 5.
It's as you were at the top of the National League, with the top 3 all victorious. Leaders Harrogate Town and third place Leyton Orient remain the only unbeaten sides in the division after 11 games. Salford City rise to 4th. Victory at Bromley was their 3rd win on the spin. Defeat by Halifax at Maidenhead saw the Showmen slip 4 places to 9th. This time last season, Dover Athletic were joint top, but a 7th loss of the campaign now sees Chris Kinnear's men bottom of the National League. Braintree secured their first victory since returning to the 5th tier as they won at Gateshead. And it's been a good weekend for Dagenham and Redbridge, bought by new investors on Friday, out of the relegation zone on Saturday after drawing with Chesterfield.
In National League South this weekend, Concord Rangers were at in-form St Albans City, who were going for a 3rd win in a row. Close to half-time, the hosts' captain David Noble got on the ball on the edge of the visitors' box, finding a bottom corner to make it 1-0. Around half an hour after the restart, with Ian Allenson's men in charge at Clarence Park, Percy Kiang-Benny proved to be a handful for Rangers, eventually beating Sam Besant, son of Dave. 2-0 it finished. Concord have lost 3 of their last 5. St Albans have 9 points from 3 games.
Elsewhere in the National League South, Dulwich Hamlet stunned the league leaders Woking 2-1 and narrowed Alan Dowson's side's lead at the top of the table to 2 points. Billericay couldn't capitalise to full effect though, as they were held to a 1-1 draw with Dartford. Chorley have a commanding lead at the top of the North table. Their nearest challengers Kidderminster have won 4 in a row to keep up with the early season pace setters. Spennymoor Town moved up to 5th with a 3-1 win at home against Nuneaton. Our Vanarama National League coverage continues on Saturday as Eastleigh welcome Dagenham and Redbridge to the Silver Lake Stadium. That is exclusively live from 12:15 on BT Sport 1 and on our 4K UHD channel. Following that, and keeping an eye on all the results around the country, BT Sport Score will keep you up to date on BT Sport 1. And ending the night of domestic action in England, Brighton host Mauricio Pochettino's Tottenham Hotspur from 5 p.m. on BT Sport 1 and on 4K UHD. That's all we have time for this week. We'll leave you with some of the best goals of the weekend, and you can expect much more of the same next week. Thanks for watching.